Okay, I think, yeah, we're recording again. Sorry about that. So we ran out of memory. We've just switched to a new camera. So, and I'll turn it sideways so I can get a better view of what's going on here. Okay, so you were saying you called the plumber. You noticed that this area that we're looking at, where the concrete is buckled, that had started to happen on Saturday afternoon?
Late Saturday afternoon. Now, the plumber was already here when I took notice of the worst of it, when it was really raised up, but I noticed the flooding had increased significantly in that area.
So what time did you call the plumber yourself?
Yes, I did.
And what time did you call him?
Again, I'd have to check my phone record.
Okay.
It was probably very early afternoon.
Okay, so...
At that point, like a lot of our sanitary drains and so on were starting to fill up with the silt and the sand.
Oh, I
so
see.
That became a concern. Our pumps weren't keeping up. The elevator pits had started to fill up with water because it was backing up.
So when did the water backup problem first start to happen on Saturday?
It would have been early Saturday afternoon. It's hard to say. A lot of the time blurs together because everything was happening so fast.
Absolutely. So. But the city was on site at the time.
The city was outside. They were out there all day.
And had they turned off the water at that point?
About midway through the day is when I found out they turned the water off, but they didn't give me an exact time when they turned it off.
Okay. And then, so midday, you're starting to notice that these grates are starting to fill up with silt. You're getting an accumulation of water. So you called the plumber sometime around then, midday?
Yeah, it would have been...
And we can find out.
I'd say around noon or so, but
okay.
I have to check my phone record.
So what time did he get here?
He didn't waste too much time getting here. He was here within an hour, I think.
Oh, perfect. And he set up pumps to start pumping out the water?
He didn't have any pumps because they were not available. What he did was able to clear out a few. By that time, we also had the disaster relief crew or whatever here, Master People. This was probably going on 2:30, something like that.
Okay.
We had them here. They brought some pumps, which they allowed us to keep overnight.
Perfect.
Keep things going.
Right.
Most of our pumps were just filled with silt. The plumber just worked tirelessly well into the night to keep things going as best he could, clean out the pits, but manually get them back going again. It was a long process. It was a lot of work going on.
And did the city come in here at any point in time?
The city came in here, my final phone call on Sunday night to them.
But prior to
that, they did not.
So they didn't see what was going on down here. And you said that water was starting to get into the elevators?
Yes.
So I'm just going to turn the camera away from the northwest corner towards, so that's the door to the elevators.
That goes in the elevator door.
And so water had backed up into there?
It hadn't quite gone in there too badly. There was a little bit of water just in the first, little bit of the lobby, or the second door. But what we had done was just created kind of a diversion for the water.
Perfect. To keep it out. And so was there water in the elevator pits at that point in time?
Yes, there is. Now the elevator sump pump is on the other side of that green wall.
Right.
And it had filled up with silt so badly that the water basically ran backwards into the elevator pits.
So let's go take a look at that. I'm just going to pause this while we walk over. I think we're back on now. Okay, so we're now looking at the northwest corner again, but we're on the other side of the elevator lobby doors. And you're just saying that water had come back here?
Yeah, so this is where the elevator shafts would drain into. So
elevator.
Water get in them.
Okay.
And there is at the time there were two pumps in here, one primary and one backup. And both pumps had begun to fail because they were covered in silt.
Really?
With silt and sand. Then the level of silt and sand and water to come up almost to the top of it. So.
Really? Okay, and so that was... And that was causing...
So there's a pipe that runs from here through the wall into the elevator pits.
Right.
There are two pits.
Right.
And they're sloped to come into this.
Right.
And then, of course, ejected out mechanically. And this had filled up to the point where they had actually backed up into the pits.
Okay.
So they couldn't drain at all.
Gotcha. All right. Okay, and so you had the emergency contractors and you had the plumber on site. The city had left at approximately what time?
It was late in the evening. I think they were here. Again, I have some pictures of them just getting packed up. So I don't remember the exact time. Again, I was so busy.
For sure.
I'd say right off the top of my head, but I would say probably 8.
Right.
between 9, I think they finally left.
Okay, and
First day.
did they turn the water back on when they left? Did they
They said
say?
they did, yes.
Gotcha. And had at any point during the day the water stopped seeping in?
Not at all. No, not through the entire weekend.
And had it decreased at all?
Slightly through the middle of the night on Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Okay. So water was still trickling in when they left,
Yes.
but they had said the problem is fixed, so you assumed it was just water and that would have been sitting there.
Just been hanging there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you would have left at that
Well, I
point in
never
time?
left the building. I live in the building, so.
Oh, I see.
Just maintained, all night throughout the
Yeah.
night. I kept coming down and checking on the pumps and making sure everything was still
Brutal.
draining properly.
Oh, what a great night you must have had, eh?
The whole weekend was like that.
All right.
Yeah, so I just maintained everything until the contractors returned again Sunday morning to continue cleanup and
So they-
continue making sure drainage was cleared.
And you mean your contractors, not city contractors?
Our contractor.
Okay. And so did the city tell you anything about what was wrong or what they were going to do?
One gentleman I spoke to out there, basically, all he really told me was that there was a break, which he invited me around to the side of the hole where they had dug.
And we've got pictures of that.
And allowed me to take some pictures of it.
Yeah.
So he just basically said there was a break in it. He didn't explain the complexity of the break or anything else.
Yeah.
Just said that it was broken. They were going to put a clamp on it and fill it. And I asked when were they coming to fix it permanently, because I didn't believe that the clamp was going to hold.
Yeah.
And he said probably later this week.
Why did you think the clamp wouldn't hold?
I just don't trust them long term.
Gotcha.
And I saw the condition of the pipe.
And what was the condition of the
Very,
pipe?
very rusty and did not look like it was going to hold long.
How big a pipe would you say it was?
It was, I believe it was a 12-inch main.
12-inch.
Good
Okay.
size.
Let me pause it for a sec. Okay, this is just showing the elevator lobby. We've just walked in the door from the parking garage. So the sump pump is just outside to the right of these elevators here. I'm not getting a very good view.
Dam on the other side, we have tenant storage lockers.
Let's see. Okay, so let's see here. What have we got here? This is
an old storage locker area, but is not used.
right.
Tenant storage lockers in behind these walls.
Okay.
Tenant storage lockers behind those walls here.
So tenant storage lockers behind the walls right here.
Behind this wall here. And there's also storage lockers behind the elevators.
Gotcha. And were the tenant's items damaged? Has that been determined
We're
yet?
not certain yet.
Okay. So it's just the elevator lobby. Perfect. All right.
Let's head up to street level.
So we're at the northwest corner, Bay and Wellesley. So southeast section of the intersection. Sorry, yeah, northwest corner of the building, southeast corner of Bay and Wellesley. All right, so when okay, all right,
Yeah, much better.
all right. I can't even see if I'm recording this or not, but we'll just go anyways. All right, so
So when I did get the first call,
Right.
I came out here to see what the security guard was asking me.
it's around 8:30.
There was water seeping out basically from a couple points on the curb,
Right.
and also these ducts were also filling up. All three of these were also filling up.
So they were filled with water. Was water pouring out of them, or just up to the?
I couldn't see water going in, but over time, as I checked through the day, they were filling up pretty significantly.
Right.
So, of course, now they've repaved it, but there were a lot of cracks out here that water was coming up out of
Right.
and flowing south of these.
Okay, and where was the lowest point that you saw water flowing from?
The lowest point I saw was
Like the furthest point along this road,
right down to the end of this block.
penetrating from the concrete. You mean?
Well, no, it was lifting. Sorry, it was coming out here and flowing south until the next storm rain on this
But no water was coming south of the bus stop.
Not at that point, no.
Okay. All right. So
But again, it was a 3-foot wide channel of water going down there, so it's really tough to
Right.
say no
Exactly
for sure.
where.
It could have been anywhere. But
so you called the city after you had gone downstairs and looked at the.
yes, after seeing this and seeing the basement, I called the city
Okay.
and told them, what I saw.
Right.
Told them that these ducts were filling up, which was a concern.
Right.
There was power in here,
Right.
and we were worried about knocking out the transformers, etc. And I also said we had water infiltration into the building, and they needed to get rid of it.
Now, there was this. We had noticed earlier there was some cracking on the sidewalk, and there seems to be a pronounced slope towards the drain.
Yes.
Do you recall if that was like that at the time? Did you have the cracking and?
Not as much cracking. I have noticed a few times since this has begun.
Right.
Honestly, I can't say for sure if that is more pronounced or not right now, just because
Right.
I know it's designed to be sloped towards the drain.
Right.
But whether it was 2 inches higher or not the week before, I couldn't say. I wasn't measuring it. So.
And this work that appears to be going on along Wellesley Street right here, was that there at the time?
Again, off the top of my head, I don't remember, but I know it's fairly new because there was, like a month ago, I know that people were walking on that, so it's reasonably new.
Okay. And so where did the city dig? The first time they came
First
out?
time was this first patch right here. Starting here, and then just right at the end of that.
Okay. And they showed you the main and you saw that it was very rusted and you saw, did you see where it was leaking?
Just under this piece here that they actually didn't dig, it was about 6-8 inches in south of the edge of this cut.
Oh, okay.
Pipe runs in which direction?
North and south.
And it was a cast iron main, it looked like?
It
Or?
was rusty, so I'm assuming it was cast iron main, yes.
And where was the water coming out of the main? Like, was it a big fracture?
Well,
Or?
at that point, when I actually went in to take the pictures, they had the clamp on there, but it hadn't been, I guess, fully tightened down or whatever.
Right.
There's still a considerable amount of water filling up this hole that they had dug. But it was, if I remember right, it was shooting out, so it would be west.
Right.
But again, if they had the clamp on, it could have been just wrapping around. It's hard to say.
Right.
I
And we
didn't see
have-
it before the clamp was on.
And you took pictures?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And so the water continued to come out of the ground here after they left?
Well, they were pumping water out in order to get down there before.
Right.
After they had dug the hole and ran the pumps for a period of time, they got in there. They began working later in the afternoon. That's assuming that they turned the main off.
Right.
Or they later in the afternoon informed me that it was turned back on again,
Okay.
and that by that time they had filled the hole.
And when they were here leaving and they said they had filled the hole, was water still coming out?
Not out of the ground on the street, but
But
we
in the
still had
parking
significant
garage.
water in our coming into the street.
At some point later that evening on Saturday, did water start coming out of the ground again up here? Do you know?
I didn't come out here on late Saturday, but I was called again out here on Sunday morning early at 6:15-ish,
Right.
and it was coming out further south.
So this was fine. All right, let's see where you say it was coming out.
Because I haven't seen it. That work up there was done on which day?
That would have been
Saturday?
Yeah.
This past Saturday?
4th.
Yeah.
So there was water coming out a little bit around these planters, but mostly it was around these 3 long, skinny
Pylons.
grates. Yeah, well, the grates. Again, I had photo and video of the water just bubbling right out of these.
Okay.
And going on the sidewalk, or sorry, going on off the sidewalk onto the street, getting down.
Okay. All right, I'm just gonna check my camera to make sure we're still good. All right, so we're back on. So you called the city again on Sunday morning,
Morning.
and they told you it would take a couple hours.
Well, they just gave me another reference number. They said yesterday's ticket was closed,
Yeah.
that they had finished the repair, and I informed them that they either didn't finish the repair or a new one has occurred.
Right.
And so they gave me a new reference number and said that they would be out as soon as possible. I explained to them that we had continuous water flowing into our building.
Right.
Severe damage was occurring, that they needed to prioritize this, and she said, you're on a priority list. I said,
Okay.
well, that's not enough. I said, you need to get
Right.
here now. So,
And what time did they show up?
again, it was probably a good 2 hours later.
And was it the same thing as the day previous? They
Then they dug out the first hole again, as well as the second hole, just a foot or two south.
So let's go just point to the second hole. So the second hole would have been over where they had exposed the main last time.
Yeah, well, literally just on
South
the other
of
end,
it.
at the other side of it.
Okay. Okay,
Reopen this hole, and then open up a new hole right here.
gotcha. And did they show you what they were doing at this part?
I did come out and take a few pictures
Okay.
throughout the day. I had spoken to the same gentleman I spoke to the day before.
Right?
He said that it was another break,
Another break.
and they again turned the water off, apparently clamped it again, and filled it.
Right. And did you see the clamp in the...
I did not see the clamp at that point because I had major things going on in the basement, so
Right.
I had my concerns with the building.
Okay.
So,
And you said that the city had given you some information about what was wrong? Like, you were asking how this could have happened?
well, I believe I asked, why is it leaking again? We just fixed this yesterday, and
Right.
all the guys standing around here were like, "Oh, it's a city main," and who knows? But one guy did explain to me that when they ran the east-west line on Wellesley this past year,
Yeah.
that it's an outside contractor that does it, and nobody verified whether or not connection points and so on are being done properly according to them.
Right.
Again, I don't know who, like if they were engineers or
Right.
what pay grade they were at, so to speak.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay, so after they did that repair, what time did they leave? Just as a rough...
good question. It would have been, I believe that night they were here till about 6.
And they turned off the water during the day, or
At some point to clamp this again, yes.
Do you
That
know
was
what-
my understanding, is that they did that.
did they tell you they turned it back on after?
They told me, it came out later in the day and they told me that it was back on.
Okay.
So when I said, well, as far as our concern with water supply, that we're not concerned about that, I said, all I care about is I don't want any more water coming into our building.
Right.
So I said, are you sure it stopped this time? And he says, well, we clamped it. So
Okay. And they were going to come back and fix it permanently at
they
a
were
later
supposed
date?
to come back and do a more permanent repair, but
Right. And so then what happened? So Sunday they go.
Sunday they left, yes.
Yeah. And then,
Monday,
so Sunday night, was there still water coming into the
Sunday
basement?
night there was water coming in all night to one degree or another. It did start to slow down very, very late in the evening and into the early morning.
And you assumed that it was just water trickling out from what
Yeah,
was...
just from the 30 feet below us it had
Right.
seeped through. So
And had cracking developed in the sidewalk at this point in time?
I didn't notice it. I was so concerned with what's
Right.
going on inside.
And had the heaving continued to worsen
The
throughout
heaving did
Sunday?
continue. The heaving in the corner. That's at some point during Sunday is when that happened.
Right.
I wasn't down there when it happened, but one of my visits down there, I
Okay.
noticed that it popped up and actually exploded because there
Right.
were chunks of gravel everywhere.
Was the contractor and the plumber still on site at this time?
Yes, I had pretty well everybody here still.
Okay. And so you said it stopped around 1 or 2. You must be freezing. Should we go inside the lobby? What? Okay. Really? Oh man, okay. So after that happened, when did the water worsen again?
It felt like it got worse to me over the next 2 or 3 hours.
In the
Just
morning?
because that's, no, like after they left.
Right?
It was still very considerable, so I called the city again.
Right?
They said that they had fixed the problem.
Right.
But they did send out I think he was an engineer
Okay.
to our building.
Did you get his name?
I didn't.
Okay. But he worked for the city?
He claimed he worked for the city, and it
Okay.
was short, it was about an hour after the call
Right?
that I placed, and he showed up, and I showed him downstairs what was going on, and
Yeah.
his concern was pretty high over the damage and the liability of their work.
Was that the first time they'd seen it?
That was the first time yeah.
City person had gone down to the parking garage. Do you recall him?
No, I think there was a guy that went down Sunday, but I was with other people.
Gotcha.
And I think he might have gone, Mark, the other maintenance person.
Oh, took
he
him
might
down.
have taken him down.
Okay.
So,
But this person saw the damage in P3 and was surprised?
surprised and overly concerned.
What did he say to you? Like,
He said, I'm sort of paraphrasing, but basically we're in a lot of trouble.
really?
So,
Okay. And then I'm going to pause it. Maybe we can go into the lobby and keep talking. All right. So the city engineer had shown up Sunday evening.
yeah, I assumed he was an engineer, but he was definitely somebody,
Yeah.
higher up.
So he went down, this was a second city employee to go down to P3. This happened on Sunday. He saw the damage, he was surprised by it. You had some discussions with him about that. Did he say anything about the repairs that would be needed or steps that needed to be taken?
He just said this is going to cost us. That was
Okay.
pretty much his only main comment. He actually didn't feel comfortable being down there, so he wanted to leave.
Because of safety issues or? Oh, really? Okay. So, and you, I guess, just brought him out and he left?
Yeah, I brought him out. He says we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Yeah, he left.
And then, so, did you place another call to the city that evening or was that it?
That was it for me
Okay.
that evening. The next call was placed by Mary Lou Monday morning.
And she's the property manager for this building?
Yes.
So what is your understanding then of what happened afterwards? Did you see the city come back at some point? Did she?
Well, I believe they were back here on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I was so tired from the weekend.
Right.
In fact, Mary Lou, I went down for a couple hours on Monday morning.
Oh.
And she saw me and just said, you need to go home and sleep.
Right.
I hadn't really had much.
I see. So you may not even have known if people were coming or going.
Well, I live on this side. My
Right.
balcony faces this exact spot. So,
Okay. Faces onto
I
Bay.
know that there were people out there. I don't know exactly what they were doing, what work was carried out.
City employees were out there on Monday?
Some city people were out there on Monday.
Okay. And there was some talk about a sinkhole developing at some point? When did that happen?
That's in my recollection within the Tuesday that I was first made aware of it. Again, I'd have to refer to my pictures.
Okay, and that was all documented?
Yes.
And so from the point that the sinkhole developed, would that be Mary Lou who was taking control of things?
For the most part, yes. As far as carrying on the role of dealing with the city, et
Right.
cetera.
Did you actually go out and look at the sinkhole at
I
some
did.
point?
And I actually got down right on top of the sinkhole, got my camera in there, took a couple pictures.
Ah. And when was that?
That was Tuesday.
And what-
If I recall again, I was referring to my phone, but I'm pretty sure
Okay.
it was Tuesday.
But we've got those pictures,
Yeah,
so.
right on the pictures, yeah.
And, you know, approximately what time it was?
That would have been, well, I went out a couple of times, so
Yeah.
I think once or twice in the morning, and probably once or twice in the afternoon.
And who told you about the sinkhole?
There was somebody here, and I don't recall.
So they just said to you, like,
It
oh,
was
there's a
mentioned to
sinkhole.
me, now we have a sinkhole,
Right.
yeah.
And so I'll get more information from Mary Lou and the other people about that. Do you know who was involved in, well, actually, we know that various engineers and consultants were on site by that point in time.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We also had one of our internal mortgage engineers come out on Saturday evening, I believe it was.
Okay.
Late Saturday evening, and he looked at things too.
And was there another sinkhole that opened up at some point, or what?
Yes, so the first one was a hole, roughly 10-inch hole.
Right.
In the asphalt, just off the curb.
Right.
That had formed or
Yeah.
dropped away. And again, like I said, I stuck my head right in there, used a flashlight, and couldn't see the end of the hole.
Right.
I know that about 5 feet down there was water, standing water.
Right.
How deep that was, I couldn't say.
Really?
I heard somebody say they measured it was 11 feet, but I can't confirm that.
Yikes. Okay. Who said that? Do you know?
It was after I came back in, so it was a conversation that was going on
With somebody.
among other people, and it was just
Okay.
something overheard, so I can't really confirm that per se.
And the other sinkhole that formed?
And then within a day or two after that, another sinkhole right beside that one had developed, or just a few feet away.
Now, had the first one been filled in at that point in
The
time?
first one, they came and I believe it was 3 truckloads of cement.
That was on Tuesday?
It would have been late Tuesday, I believe, yes.
Okay, so the city came on Tuesday to,
My days, like, pictures are the way I'm kind of,
Yeah.
going back to get my chronological order done.
so the best thing for us to do would be to go back and look at the photos.
Yeah.
And that would help us piece together the
Absolutely,
timeline.
yes.
Okay, so, but the first sinkhole was probably filled in on Tuesday. The city did show up at some point early that week. And then immediately adjacent to it, or like a foot?
Within, I would say within 6 feet, the first hole.
Okay. To the west?
I believe it was to the east.
So-
I'd have to go out there again and look. I think it was this side.
Would you mind if we just step out there? You can just point out where these happen? Okay. I'm just going to start recording now. Okay. So, this is the first sinkhole area, right?
I'm taking pictures. We're seeing this lamppost. The other side of this lamppost in my pictures.
So,
Let's see it's gotta be, oh, you know what? Might be under this. This is the second sinkhole.
gotcha.
First one
Was this area that's being new filled?
yes, the hole roughly bigger than that one.
Okay, I'm just gonna do this. What do we see down there? Nothing. It doesn't look like it.
That one's not here. Oh, what's first?
Nope. I don't know. I can't even tell with my camera. But anyway, has there been? Oh, thanks. Any sense of how far back it goes? Like,
Well, from when I took the pictures from here, the hole, pointed south. I couldn't see the end of it.
sorry, I'm gonna get in closer. So you're saying you couldn't see the end of it when you looked in?
Facing south, and this direction here was just too dark.
Right.
Again, I couldn't see any walls or I couldn't see any dirt coming up to the sidewalk.
But this section was 11 feet deep, possibly. 5 feet down, you saw standing water.
4.5 feet below me, there was standing water. South as I could see.
Gotcha. Okay.
I mean, it could be this corner here as well. I'm not 100% sure, and then it goes that way.
Okay. All right.
It's relatively new because this was all finished in December, January.
This section of,
Everything was complete.
and so this tearing up is relatively new. You just don't
Relatively
know
new.
when
I
it.
don't know the exact dates.
Okay. All right. It's starting to rain. Let's go back in. All right. So we just had a look at the U-filled hole. So you said on a Tuesday the city came in and put some filler in.
Some new things.
Do you recall seeing the hole being? What was that? The end of it? Like
Well, in that particular hole,
yeah.
in fact, I believe, now that I remember talking to Andrew Kelly, our senior
Right.
district manager, I believe it was the Friday following the incident that they actually filled that hole.
Not
So
the
they were
Tuesday.
there- Sorry?
Not Tuesday.
Not Tuesday, no.
Okay.
I apologize for that. It's coming back to me
That's
a little
fine.
bit now. They made note of it on Tuesday. They noticed
Right.
it was there, but they were actually still working around the corner.
I gotcha.
So it was just something that one of the guys had brought me over to look at.
So on Tuesday they saw it,
I took pictures, etc.
and then on Friday they came back.
They came two trucks for sure. I believe I saw a third one come as well.
Right.
And they just filled it until it came to the top.
Just put U-fill in.
And
And then when did that new hole develop?
it was within, well, it was early the following week, so
So sometime last week?
sometime last week.
Okay. So, and I know just because everything was going on at once, if there's an issue with the chronology, we would be better served to look at the
Confirm my
photos.
figures For sure, yeah.
Okay.
I'd be able to confirm at that point exactly what's going on. It's just, again, everything really came at me fast. And I was
Yeah,
alone all
absolutely.
weekend For the most part, I mean, Martin was here for a couple hours on and off on Sunday. Just kind of give me a break because I hadn't eaten and I hadn't slept.
So when did water stop coming into the basement? Like,
Well, it was Tuesday following, I think, when they finally got it to stop. It trickled down to a fairly small amount,
right,
primarily out of the second spot where it heaved up.
right.
That was where it was coming in.
When you say the second spot, are you talking about the closest to the northwest corner?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Thank you so much for your time and walking us through what happened. I really appreciate it.